Well,
I can eat burgers. You
Oh,
gotta eat it.
whoops. Forget it. Don't look at the stream. Or
I
else.
didn't. I just.
don't need to.
I didn't. I just hit the subscribe button. I just want to inflate your numbers for free. You can Venmo me though.
I will subscribe.
Free
I will
Venmo.
subscribe for
That's
$3 American.
Subbed. There we go. I've subbed.
Hi, send me a like and follow.
Make sure to slam that like button for more crazy content.
And be sure to hit the bell icon.
You don't hit the bell, you might as well be dead.
Alright, I need my face in this though. So where is the video capture device? There we go. My face is what it's gonna be called. Let's go, OBS.
Today's stream is sponsored by.
Yeah,
Today's stream is sponsored by Nerd Crate, a cube full of your favorite nerdy paraphernalia.
no,
You ever
it's
want
definitely gonna be
Ghostbusters
sponsored by
toothbrushes?
orange juice.
We're sponsored by orange juice?
Yeah, man, just
It's
orange
brand
juice. Like
orange
that.
juice.
Well, that's what I'm drinking. So. And
The
not
real
just any
series
orange juice.
today's
This is the
episode
real
is brought
orange
to you by
juice.
screwdrivers. Make people think you're drinking orange juice.
Hey, don't tell everyone my secret. Alright, here we go. Let's
There we go.
let's shrink this down a little bit. I'll put it in the bottom
Cool.
corner.
And I updated my avatar to say that it's Grem because that's my name that's in Discord, so no one will be like, "Who's that?"
Who dat? Alright,
change my
so
name.
Connor, which characters did you which one died? Was deleted?
Apparently I undid it even though the button said it can't be undone, so
Okay. Because I see Porvo and Shenra.
I know. I couldn't think of a last name for Shinra. I was gonna make one up in a minute. But I do like
I mean-
Porvo Whipper Blades.
Oh wait, do I have to do like an intro?
I don't know.
I gotta do an intro, man. I'd be like, hello, welcome to the new episode of Heroes of Terador, because I couldn't come up with a better name.
Yeah,
Alright, so
129.
it's 7:04, 7:05. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of kick things off anyways, for real this time. For real, guys. But yeah, so I believe that Andy, you've already got at least one character, right?
I rolled a character, but I can change it because I heard, all of the talk in the tavern channel.
Oh my god.
If Jill's going to be using a similar character, then I don't want to copy.
No, that's
And I'm
totally
not
fine.
dead set.
So regardless of what you want to be, you're gonna have to make two characters anyways, because I'm not gonna be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. Someone will probably die. Because we're gonna be playing a more, I guess low fantasy would be the right word. It's still high fantasy because there's a lot of magic and stuff, but it's gonna be a lower fantasy world where people can die. And I won't be doing a whole lot of balance. I know, like, 5th edition, a lot of encounters are kind of based around, like, these are bad guys and you will fight them and you will defeat them in the end and you will get more experience and blah, blah, blah. Continue, right? This is going to be a little more, like, I guess, in quotes, real world-ish, where you might have an encounter and you start jumping into it and then you realize that it's a, colossal demon of some sort, and you're like, okay, well, I can't fight that. We're gonna run away, and we'll deal with that later when we come back to it.
Should I just make a quick character for the second one, and just make one really good backstory, or should I go ahead and make a full backstory for both?
Don't
You
worry
make
about
good
backstories
backstory?
much. Yeah, no. Don't worry about backstories a whole lot, because the way this is kind of planned to do, we're gonna kind of go more on an adventure, right? This is more of a we'll learn about our characters as we go, and I expect you guys to kind of fill out that backstory as we go along. I don't expect you to know everything about your character right now, and I expect you to kind of come up with some stuff, not necessarily like exactly on the fly, but just as we organically move through things, you might go, oh yeah, well I grew up over here, or whatever
Cool.
is.
I've been in
Exactly.
campaigns that have both sides of that kind of argument, where they're really structured or they're really loose. So yeah, I'm flexible.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it kind of loose. I know when we played together, kind of during lunch times and after work and things like that, um, it was a lot more.
Well, that's the
I don't know,
loosest.
it was just super loose, right? It's a little less loose than that, but it's in that kind of in that vein, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Pepe, let me ask you, this is a good enough backstory without being enough backstory. So Porbo Whipperwoods, at one point that he doesn't remember because he's been alive a while, he thinks he was in the army and he got lost in the woods. And then he was lost in the woods for a very long time. Like long enough that all of his like weapons and armor rusted and rotted.
Okay.
And so after being lost in the woods long enough, he was like, I'm a druid now. And then he wound up wherever we are because he's still kind of lost.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. Especially because we're in the southwestern part of the continent, so there's not a whole lot of forged around these parts. I mean, there's still some here and there. It's not like it wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, there's a forged here. What's going on? But at the same time, it would be far enough that people would be like, it wouldn't be a weird sight, but it would be like, oh, I haven't seen one of you in a couple days or that kind of thing. So yeah, you would definitely feel a bit lost, especially since like the Forge can kind of talk to each other in their own specific, I don't know, fancy radio frequency style talking. So your lack of being able to do that would kind of suck. Yeah.
Yeah. My flaw is I easily get lost and I have trouble getting unlost.
Easily get lost.
I think that's funny that a forged would be a druid. That's a great combo.
I know, right? It's
I had to ask specifically. I was like, am I allowed to do this? Because I won't wear metal armor, but there's like the whole skin thing.
Yeah, so
You're right.
so
Kind of
forged
already made of
swords-
metal.
forged
Yeah.
swords aren't exactly made of metal per se.
Made of
They
dirt.
are metal-like,
Mhm.
but whatever they're made of is actually like it's a substance that you can't find on Terador. So it's metal-like, but it's not specifically metal. And so something like a druid or someone that was more nature-based would not look at them and be like, oh my gosh, this is an abomination, this is a creation of man. They would be like, okay, it's forged. So it's kind of one of those like weird in the middle type things.
God.
So Andy, what was your first character? So I see Finn.
Finn.
Is
Yeah,
this
that's
your
the only
main
one I've
option?
made so far.
Okay.
And he's a lichen ranger,
Okay.
but he's not one of the main two lichens. He's a nice guy lichen, but he's totally a loner.
Okay.
So
Which clan would he most associate with?
Star Lacers.
Star Lacers. Okay. So
Like he grew up in a inclusive community, but he kind of he left them. Well, he didn't get outcast from the community, but he kind of left on his own accord to strike off and see the world, and then he learned kind of the evils and kind of the problems of the world, and then kind of shrank back into nature. And he's a very naturalist kind of ranger.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. All right. So we've got a couple of woodsy folk, for example, here.
But most of the time, he doesn't even look like a lichen. He's just like, yeah, kind of a shadowy humanoid guy.
Shadowy humanoid guy with claws, because they do.
Yes,
they do have,
claws
like,
and teeth.
and pointy teeth.
Claws and teeth, yes,
Regardless.
but if you're not close enough to him, which usually you won't be,
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, that's just a dude in the corner.
it's just a dude walking through the forest with a bow. Okay.
All right.
You turn into a dog, I'm just going to think you're a really good druid.
I'm gonna go ahead and share with everyone. I believe I have. No, I haven't done this yet. So everyone's gonna start off in Cimarron.
So nice.
We kind of talked about Cimarron a little bit last week,
Yeah.
but a little more information. There should be a little handout on the cities. Let me forcefully share that to everyone. There we
Yep.
go. Mwahahaha. I have the power,
Cimarron.
the GM power. Yeah, so Cimarron is the city of the setting sun. It's mostly human, but there's definitely a lot of other races that intermingle here. In particular, you'll see a lot of Gori and Slan in this area, just because they're kind of not super close by, but it's easy for them to travel trade-wise over here. And the Slan, even though they're kind of mystics and kind of enjoy the nature side of things, they are well interested in arcane, and with all the mana wells that have been popping up in this part of the continent, they often come over here for pilgrimages and any kind of magey stuff. They typically come to Cimarron. So it's kind of known as like the magical capital of Terador right now, at least. It used to be Garant was, but now it's more so Cimarron, because Garant has been having some problems. So yeah, it's run by Queen Jenny, or Genevieve. She's like a very powerful mage, and there's like a full court of these mages that all kind of do bureaucratic things. They live in Cimarron Court, which let's swap everyone over to kind of get a view of the city. Here we go. So you should be able to kind of have a view of what the city looks like. You kind of move things so that the stream can also see that information. That should be... There we go. That's not too bad. Cool. Yeah. So in the north, you've got Cimarron Court, which is basically a large kind of a fortress of sorts. It's got its fancy mage towers and things like that, and that's where what would I say? The fancy people, the well-renowned wizards and things like that. This is where they would live, and the council lives in the Cimarron Court. Now, on the southern part, there's the South District and Coal Court. Coal Court is kind of the not-so-great part of town. It's the seedy area. West District is still kind of fancy. It's where a lot of the middle-class, business-oriented people come from. And since it's right next to the river mouth, that's where a lot of the dock stuff occurs. There is still things that happen on the docks on the Coal Court side, but usually it's the more ill repute kind of things. This is where people would be doing smuggling and things like that, is Coal Court. And the problem with Coal Court is that Drywell was the original well. It was the Well of Cimarron, which is... A mana well is basically a deep chasm in the earth. And basically a bunch of magical energy shoots out of the well like a geyser to an extent. And so what mages in Terador will do is they'll take large crystals, or not large, I guess, like human-sized, I guess, and they'll move these crystals into the wells, and basically they'll take that mana and, I guess, use it to kind of power magical things in the city. Or, you know, they'll use it as energy, if that makes sense. It's a way to focus that mana that's falling or shooting out of the ground. So that's kind of what the wells are for and what they do. Drywell was originally the well of Cimarron. However, it has long since kind of dried up, and so it's just kind of a giant hole in the ground at this point. Now there's people that still live there because they couldn't really afford to go anywhere else, right? And that's kind of why Drywell and Coal Court is kind of the questionable side of town, and a lot of the people don't like it. Whereas like West District has Willrot and Southwell and Eastwell, which are all perfectly fine. They're currently working wells that are harnessing mana energy from the ground. So that's kind of the city. There is in the South District, there is like a festival area, which you can see. Let me see if I have my GM powers. That force everyone to look at my ping.
By the river there, yeah.
Cool. So this is where like there's a yearly like wizardry festival, And each year, a lot of people will kind of take their pilgrimages and go to this festival here, and they'll buy and sell magical goods and basically kind of pay homage to a lot of the well locations and kind of imbue themselves and imbue their equipment and things like that with magical energy. So it's a big thing in Cimarron, and that's kind of like their yearly, I guess, as people nowadays would look at like Christmas or a New Year celebration or something like that. That's kind of basically their big celebration.
And what do they call it?
It's the celebration of the setting sun,
Nice.
which is why this is the city of the setting sun. And basically, as the sun sets, that's when all the fireworks come out and everyone kind of has their drinks and merriment and has a good time, right? So yeah, that's kind of the main parts of Cimarron. It's a fairly typical city, although it's a more magic-based city. There are some problems with there's a separate faction that aren't particularly connected with the mages of Cimarron. They call themselves the Astral Knights, and they have a small town. I wouldn't call it a city, but it's bigger than just 2 or 3 houses. I guess a large town it should be the way I should explain it. But they live kind of to the southwest, and they do not particularly get along with the people of Cimarron, mostly because it's like it's based on land grabs. They're constantly kind of fighting each other. If you look on the map here, you should be able to see kind of farther to the southwest, about 2 hexes to the left and down. You should kind of be able to see Astroloft a little bit, and that's where the Astral Knights are from.
I can clearly see it on the continental map of Terador.
Okay, perfect. Here, let me add the Cimarron map to everyone's journals so that they can actually see it. Alright, cool. Yeah, so if you look on your continental map, you should be able to see it. And you'll see to the northeast, there's a kind of a city in the mountains. That is Cinderhall, which is the capital city of the Gori. And they're good friends with the people of Cimarron. And there's a lot of trade that happens between those two, I guess, countries or cities. And they usually are kind of in a positive, symbiotic relationship of sorts. The people of Cimarron are very good at like imbuing things with magical properties. The Gori are exceptionally well known for making like armors and gear and things like that. For basically anything that you can forge, the Gori are proudly making those things. And so a lot of times the Gori will make these things, and then they'll take their mastercrafts to Cimarron to basically make them even more I guess exquisite by having them have magical properties and things like that. So they're both very good friends trade-wise, and that's kind of where we're starting, is in Cimarron. Sorry, go ahead.
Awesome, it's cool.
I thought you were about to ask a question.
Yeah, this just goes back to my first idea that unfortunately is not going to happen with the way that we have to structure classes. Is I thought it'd be really cool to have a Gori artificer, but that's not part of the PHP.
You know what? I've had 2 people talk about artificers. I might just cave and buy the Eberron expansion. I mean, it's not too bad.
I was confused because I had the Eberron expansion, so it showed up. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to be some artificer nerd.
Well, fine.
I don't know. One of my favorite things to do in fantasy settings or even sci-fi settings, any kind of other world, is to be a crafter or a artisan of some sort. So
okay, well,
it's a cool thing.
I might get that expansion then, so that we can actually have some people that are artificers. There's a bunch of other classes and stuff in that book, I believe. So and there's a bunch of extra monsters and stuff. Eberron has some weird monsters, so I might do that so that we can actually play as an artificer and a couple of other things as well. Connor, I think this is your first time here, so I'll explain
Yeah.
kind of how things are, I guess, gonna happen in the future.
Cool.
Basically, every Monday you get to hear me rant and rave about the world and whatever questions you have. But it's super casual. We're just kind of talking about things that might be happening in the world, where stuff might be, and any kind of information about your character or locations.
Okay.
We won't actually really be playing any encounters on Mondays at from 7 to 8. It's mostly as a kind of perpetual session 0.
Yeah.
Now, I will be posting, like I'm sure you've seen in our Discord, I post every 1 or 2 days. I'm trying to kind of do it every 2 or 3 days or so. I'll post an interesting event that's happening. And I'll put it under the rumors chat, I believe is where it lives right now.
Yep. For now.
And basically, anything that you see in the Discord chat, you should also be able to see it in Roll20 under the Encounters tab.
Yes.
And it's just interesting things that might be going on in the world. If anyone finds any of them interesting, and they want to actually go and investigate such things, then basically you'll post about it and say, hey, I'm looking to head west to Astraloft, or I'm heading northeast to go to Granite Pass to see what's going on, or whatever. And from there, we can get a party set up and a time to actually play, and then we'll actually play that hex crawl with whoever shows up for that meet. So that way, it's a little more I don't know, kind on people's time. If people are all busy on Tuesday, then everyone's busy on Tuesday, and we don't play that day. So I'm leaving it up to the players to kind of decide when they want to play, where they want to go, and why they want to do that thing, if that makes any sense. I will keep posting these different little events that are happening, and if you look on the map, you should see a couple of little skulls with labels on them. So you should see like NN10 or RR12 or I think
Which map?
the current map on Roll20.
With the Fog of War?
Yes.
I do not see it on the Fog of War.
Skulls.
No skulls?
No, I just see Cimarron.
Let's see. Am I on the wrong?
I have an idea where these things should be, but I don't see any icons on them.
I just want to go there.
Let's see. Let me see if I can get it. It says players can see. That's
Is it
weird.
an image setting or something?
Let me see if that worked. You're not able to see if you go to Cimarron and go to the hex right here. Do you see a skull?
No, nothing. It's not.
No skull?
I'm looking at Cimarron's hex and it has no skulls.
I can share my screen real quick. You can see
I
it.
must have to be really close.
Right
I'm
here.
really zoomed in.
On the hex NN10, can you see the hex NN10?
Well,
I don't see any.
You can see what I see. From sea to shining sea.
Here, I'll look. Oh, I know why. It's because the party location is only controlled by me,
Oh my god.
and so
It all comes together.
no one else can see anything. Hold on.
Oh my
Ah,
god.
there we go.
Suddenly, everything was made clear again. Yeah, so now you should be able to see.
I do. I
your
see it
actual
all.
location.
Although
Sorry, guys.
MM13 is a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little hidden to the corner. That's fine. That's kind of the intent of it. So yeah, and as you travel through this area, you'll be able to kind of see more and more of the map because obviously it's Fog of War, and it's the fancy cool Fog of War now. So it stays as you explore the map, which is kind of cool.
So it will increase as we explore?
Yeah. So
That's-
as you start
that's
moving to
quite
different
nice.
hexes, you'll start seeing more and more of the map fill out. And you
'Cause
won't have
I
to sit
remember-
and look at the continental map in your handouts forever.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it used to be that Roll20 would only have the area around you, and you just have to remember where you'd been.
Yeah. Now it's not that way, which is nice. But yeah,
Much
there
nicer.
should be 3 events right now that are available for people to see, and it should be the NN10, RR12, and MM13, which
Mhm.
are one is called the Dowry, one is called the Library of Ghosts, and the third one is Granite Pass Cave-In. Now, since this is a hex crawl, every single hex that you walk on, random things could and will happen, depending on what my magical random tables tell me. So as we travel through stuff, other things will happen outside of just the main events, and that might be all that you're interested in. If sometimes you guys want to just travel and see, hey, what does Kavaskar look like? What does Astroloth look like? And you just want to walk over there, or what's in the woods over here at whatever this is, P or RR10. That's totally fine. We can have an entire session or encounter series that's just, what is this landmark? What's over here? Or, maybe we'll find something if we start heading east. And, those things are totally fine as well. You don't have to go to a specific location. Because, that's the, I guess, the way West March's styled events are, is you have these randomly generated events, but you also have player generated, rumor generated, and story generated locations and events as well. So all kind of depends on where you guys want to go and with who and when. So that's kind of the general way things work. Since it's an open table and it is a hex crawl, each hex is 6 miles. So if you move from one hex to the next one, so let's say you went from Cimarron to NN12, for example, here, that would be 6 hours. It would take you 6 hours to get to that hex. And during those 6 hours, things could happen. You could, find a random thing. There could be a, I don't know, you could find a random person that's doing something, or maybe a well that spits things out whenever things are dropped into it, or all sorts of random things could happen, and you might find all sorts of interesting things along your way.
A living world, then. That's great.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'll keep posting every 2 or 3 days. New events, new things that'll happen. Some things will be in your view, some things will be out of your view, and you won't be able to get to them until you start heading that way. And I think that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any kind of questions on how things will go, or what the kind of mood or style of things is supposed to be?
You go ahead first. I'll wait.
I'll wait.
I'm not sure I have any questions right now. I'm sure I have questions, but none that are very well thought out.
And also, if there's like lore or story or location questions, feel free to ask me, because I mean, I'm building the world as we go. Well, that's a lie. I've built a lot of the world already, but as we go, things will start to flesh out even more. And I'm glad to talk about the age of the dragons, or the what this mountain pass is kind of like, and things like that.
Okay, so then one question. You had mentioned that there was something that you had to change from last session in terms of the history of Titans and dragons.
Yeah, I got it mixed up. I forgot that the Titans didn't actually create the Imprians, which are kind of like the proto people, I guess. The people before all of the races of Terador became people. I was thinking that the Titans made them, but they kind of appeared as well as Terador created life. Whereas the first living creatures that the Titans created were dragons.
Okay.
And in particular, 2 specific dragons, Siltus and Tansis. Siltus was basically whichever one's the white side was Siltus, and Tamsis was kind of the black side. And they're basically pure good and pure evil. Think of like I don't know, like Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they were unable to see or believe or feel anything of the opposite side. So doing something good was innately impossible for Tamsis, and doing something evil was innately impossible for Siltus, which is problematic, obviously. So,
Like, wait, which good? Like universal good?
Righteous good in the eyes of Siltus. Not necessarily universal good.
So, like, would Siltus kill a baby to save 10 people's lives?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
because
so
that
the
would save
common
10
good.
people's lives. It is objectively better to save 9 people in this case.
Would Siltus kill a baby to save 9 murderers' lives?
They are lives, and therefore, yes.
Okay.
So that's kind of the dragons. And the dragons do have some descendants, which are the Slan, the Nali, and... well, that's it. The Slan and the Nali.
Not a cat. They are cats.
Yeah, Nali are cat people. They are short cat people.
Short cat people and the Slan are the reptilian kind of race.
They're the lizard men.
Okay.
And the Slan came from Siltus. They were kind of the disciples of Siltus. And the Nali were... I wouldn't call them disciples. I would call them basically slaves, or like, I guess, the grunts of Tamsis, because Tamsis wanted them to be stupid, and so he built them to be dumb. And it's only like with their own resourcefulness that they've overcome being these like mindless monsters, essentially, and have become a more civilized living race that everyone else likes to be around. And so they still have a little bit of a stigma here and there. A lot of times people will look at them and go, oh, they're just thieves, or they're like, the roguish types. Even though they're not anymore, it's still a negative stigma on them.
Got it.
I have some questions about the Forged.
The Forge.
Yeah, the Forged. That's actually relevant to my first question. What does a Forged sound like when it talks?
That's up to you to decide. I'll let you do whatever. Usually they would sound a little bit like kind of tinny human, I guess. They would have a little bit of a robotic tinge to them. They speak common fluently. They're
Right.
able to talk as a human would.
I just was wondering, do I sound like a speaking spell, or did they put a microchip in my larynx and so I sound like Nicolas Cage?
Closer to Nicolas Cage. But that's up to you to determine. If you want to sound more robotic, that's totally fine.
I probably will.
All right, yeah, you can be a robot then.
Nice.
Because they are more robotic in nature. And one of the special things, which we kind of talked about last week, but it didn't get streamed, and you weren't there as well. So the Forged can speak to other Forged, as if I kind of called it like a radio frequency. They can speak to each other telepathically, but it's not like a I can read your mind kind of thing. It's like I can broadcast
like
what I'm thinking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a radio. Walkie-talkie.
Exactly. It's like
You can't
walkie-talkie
make them
style.
speak, but you can speak to them.
Right. And so they can communicate silently with each other telepathically. But they can't do that with other races, for obvious reasons. And they can't probe into someone's mind and see what they're reading.
Right.
That's where magic
They're
comes
not actually psychic.
in. Right, exactly.
They just have like a radio transmitter in their brain.
Is there a type of magic that allows other races to be able to telepathically make that link?
I believe there are... I don't know. Since we're
Like
playing 5th edition...
Items
and I'm
or
not
spells?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's some spells and stuff like that, I believe, where you can kind of detect other languages and stuff like that.
Okay.
In this case, I would probably be lenient and say, yeah, you can pull into some of this as well.
What you do is you kill me and you open my skull and you find like a bunch of radio chip pieces and you do surgery on your own head and put them in your brain.
Implant them. That's the real secret.
This is why you need the artificer.
Yeah. It's like that one guy from Heroes, you know, just figure out how it works.
I'm gonna take your brain and put it in my brain and see what happens.
Weirdest superhero power ever, but whatever. Yeah. So far we've got 3 possible little plot hooks that you guys can jump into.
Mhm.
I think everyone has seen them, but essentially, there is a missing family from Kavaskar, and it's actually the Duke of Kavaskar. So, which they're kind of high-profile individuals that have been missing. They're supposed to have traveled to Cimarron, but they never arrived. And so that's the NN10, also known as the dowry, I guess. Basically, the Duke was his daughter was about to be married, and now she's gone. Gasp. Let's see. RR12.
We suspect it's the Bluetail.
What was that?
We suspect it's the Bluetail bandits.
Yeah, that's kind of the general consensus, because the Bluetail bandits have been kind of terrorizing everywhere between Kavaskar and Cimarron, so it's been a little bit dangerous recently.
I'm back. Computer crashed.
RR12, down in the bottom corner, you can already see that a little bit on the map. It's the Library of Ghosts. The Library of Ghosts is kind of a very haunted location. People don't really go to it. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and bad stuff happens basically every year, where a bunch of ghosts come out and like terrorize the locals. So no one really likes to go to the library. However, a very, very up-and-coming Cimarron Council member, known as Mara Witherin, she was actually sent to the library to figure a couple of specific things out for the council, and she disappeared and no one knows what happened. The rumor is basically that she somehow has gotten into the library, but the library only opens once a year, and when it opens, it hasn't come around this year yet. It's not supposed to open until like a couple of days from now. So it's really weird that she would be in there, because it would be kind of impossible since the place is cursed to be closed for years on end. So weird stuff going on over there. And then the third problem that we already know about is the problem with Granite Pass. Granite Pass is a very well-known travel location. It's basically how everyone from Cimarron and Cinderhall get to between the two cities. Because it's well made and it's quick and simple. You don't have to deal with all the crazy perilous stuff that happens in the mountains. You just go in this tunnel, walk through it, boom, you're done. However, the tunnel has caved in, which is super, super bizarre, because the Gori are like well known for making things that will not cave in. So the fact that this is caved in is just not quite right. So a couple of people have been sent to investigate, and no one's really come back. So that's where we're looking for someone else to be successful this time and figure out what on earth is happening.
Do we have Redworm Passage on the map?
So Redworm, the mountain range that you see,
Yeah.
that is the Redworm Mountains. As you
So
kind
they
of
go up through about MM11 and LL12?
yeah,
That kind of area?
all of that is the southern peaks of Redworm Mountains. Redworm
Okay.
Mountains is like a huge mountain range. It
Yeah,
covers a
I can
lot
see
of
it from
space.
the Continental.
Right. Here, I'll open up the continental map as well for other people that can't see on the stream. But yeah, so basically all of those mountains in the corner, those are the Redworm Mountains, and so Granite Pass kind of cuts through a lot of that and goes straight to Cinderhall. Otherwise, you actually have to go through Redworm Pass, which is kind of the unmountainous area in between, and it's kind of a valley between all of the mountains. It's a long and grueling journey that eventually brings you to a settlement called Jasperstone, and then from Jasperstone you can continue walking for another day or two to get to Cinderhall, or at least the upper entrance of Cinderhall, since Cinderhall is actually an underground city beneath the mountains. So it's quite a long trek, and then from there, if you want to go anywhere in the Eastern Kingdom areas, you have to go through Redworm Pass again, the kind of the eastern side of the Redworm Pass. So it's not a fun place to be. Just it's bitter, it's cold, it's icy, it's all the bad things of being in a high peaked mountain range, right? So people don't really travel through it if they can get away with it.
Got it.
Which is why Granite Pass being caved in is so inconvenient, because, well, if you want to get to Cinderhall or back from Cinderhall, you're either taking the Astral Portal or you're going through Redworm Pass, and the Astral Portal is really expensive and for people of great status, essentially. So most people are going through Redworm Pass and hopefully not dying.
Yeah, for a portal, you'd need a lot of mana expenditure. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, each city does have an Astral Portal. It is run by the Astral Knights, which are in Astraloft. That is me saying Astral like a million times. But yeah, the Astral Portals are actually they are created through something called a Waystone. And to build a Waystone is essentially similar to building a mana crystal, where you would actually manifest mana. The only difference is Waystones don't manifest mana. They actually manifest astral energy, which is different, but think of it as crazy cosmic space energy. That's kind of what astral is, and astral is can be kind of managed through Waystones. And Waystones are actually a very specific type of metal that you can only find in certain mountain ranges and things like that, which is why the Astral Knights kind of like this area, and why this is kind of their home, is there's a lot of remnants and shards of this type of metal to build and manage Waystones. Now, just like mana crystals, they can, and mana wells, mana wells will dry up, so will Waystones. Waystones will lose their power eventually. And usually, they will get cast out and thrown away in places called Waystone Quarries. And I think, if I'm correct, yeah, there are some locations that you guys haven't seen yet, and I haven't posted because you guys haven't heard the rumors yet, but there are places around here that are Waystone Quarries and Waystone Graveyards.
Okay. And that's a common known, like, generic fact.
Yeah, like people would...
anyone
you would be
in Cinder, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be familiar with people mining for Waystones, just as people would be mining for mana crystals, or for iron, or copper, and it's just a precious stone, just like anyone else, or I guess precious shard, but it's essentially a mineral of sorts.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's mostly popular, I guess, mostly found in the Southwest, but a lot of times you can find pockets here and there, all throughout the world. So it's not weird to find a quarry here and there, but there's a lot more in the Southwest. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything I've got. Does anyone have any questions about kind of things that are happening? Is there anything that was kind of interesting to people? What just happened to the party location, dude?
I just touched it and it moved. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Where do we live?
Right now, hold on, let me see. Why did the view not...
And how do you know each other?
That is up to you guys. So I'll let you guys kind of decide on how you know each other, and I will also kind of let you guys decide from your character's storyline, kind of where you're from. And if you don't know of places, you can feel free to ask. The main towns and cities around here, we have Granite Pass, we have Kavaskar, Jasperstone, Cimarron, Astroloft. There's a town called Oakenford. There's Roysdale and Saltwatch. Saltwatch, not Wash. Those are kind of like the nearby towns. So if you want to say that you kind of are from one of these towns, that's totally cool. Or you can just say, hey, I grew up in Cimarron and now I want to travel and see the world. That's fine with me as well. I'm going to assume that everyone has met each other some way, somehow, in the city of Cimarron. And I'll let you guys kind of decide that on your own as well.
Well, I'm from the woods. So
Actually, if I play Finn, same.
So if you guys are from the woods, there are some woods near Astroloft, which would be kind of a common foresty location. That would be down. Let me see if I can.
I think I see it on the map.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, there's trees.
Yeah. That's a well-known kind of wooded area that a lot of people are from. If you also wanted to be kind of from like the deeper forests, there's Deepwood, which is further north. It's probably, well, you can't see it, but let me see.
On the
I see it on
continental.
the world map.
Yeah, on the world map, you'll see like a very largely wooded location to the north. I guess just northwest a little bit, but mostly north. That is Deepwood, and Deepwood is where a lot of people would spend their time doing druidy, rangery things. The towns near there would be Sapphire Glen, Ensmore, and Slip Rock. Those are kind of the forest towns. And each of those locations, you would be fairly familiar with the Farron, because a lot of the Farron live in Deepwood. And the Farron are the bird people. They are winged individuals. They can't fly. I think, Connor, you didn't get the intro.
I read the thingy. I read the thingy for all the races. I just don't remember what elves do because like my eyes glazed over and going to the back of my head of the word elves.
Elves are your favorite. What do you mean?
I'm such a hipster. I can't stand it. I hate the Lord of the Rings races.
Lord of the Rings races. These are more, I guess, World
I know they're
of
different.
Warcrafty. They're like the High Elves, I guess, or something like that.
If they're high elves, then they're still fairly tropey.
Yeah, they like their ears. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's a high elf thing.
They like their ears and are think that they're really cool. So yeah, I guess it is tropey elves.
Well, it's less than wood elves.
Yeah, Farron are basically wood elves, but birds instead. So,
Nice.
because I felt like elves are having multiple races of elves was a little bit boring when you could have so many other options, right? And having birds that were forced to live on the ground is kind of interesting. So,
Especially when there's cat people to eat those birds.
yeah.
Think of the pressure.
Cat
Also
people and birds.
making orcs ant-like is also kind of nice. Makes them a
Oh,
little
yeah.
less tropey.
As far as where I'm from, though, Kelly, it doesn't matter because my character's just been living in the woods, and every time he met someone who told him how to get out of the woods, he failed. They'd be like, Porbo, if you want, we can leave you guys. We'd be like, no, just tell me which way. And they'd be like, it's that way. And then he'd get lost. And then Daylight's like,
Can't figure
man,
out after that.
I wish I had followed them. But then by the time he meets another traveler, he's already forgotten about that encounter. So like, you need help? I was like, no, I got it this time. So whether that'd be fine to be that he was in the woods right by the city and he finally just lucked out and found the city,
Okay,
or
yeah,
if he
that
was in the
works.
forest far away and he wandered out and he wandered really far without hitting his city.
Well, surely he doesn't know, so therefore.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He just knows he's from the woods.
Yeah. It might be Deepwood. It might be the woods to the south, which don't have really a cool name yet, and I should probably come up with a good name for them.
And the thing is, he is aggravated because he's not a stupid person. He's just one thing.
Hmm.
He's really easily lost. I think he's not stupid. Look at his
Well,
intelligence.
how about, let's see, Fen Greylight. Do you
Yeah,
have any
Fen.
kind of interest? You know, where would you like Fen to be from?
Where's the ancestral home of the Lycan clans?
Very far away. So you see the large what would you call it? Lake, pseudo lake, I guess, in the middle.
I
With the
see
one
about
island.
4 different lakes. Oh, the giant one, yeah.
Yeah. If you head north, I guess east, you'll start seeing kind of a plains area.
Mhm.
And in that plains area, there's some hills, and there are 3
Settlements.
yeah, settlements. Those are the homes of the Lycans.
So it's kind of like a warring tribal nation kind of thing.
Right. Now they don't
Okay.
fight each other. They don't really hang out with each other much, but they are nomadic in nature, and so they will travel through those highlands. They'll travel through them and catching animals, hunting game, that kind of thing, finding food, and they're very nomadic in nature.
Well, then that definitely means that I grew up in the tribe in the nomad area up there, splintered off from them because of differences and backstory reasons, and headed south.
Yeah, I'm just sharing this so that the stream can also see where we're talking about.
And so as I headed south, I saw other cultures and other people and injustices and problems of the world, and decided to keep heading south into the woods so that I could seclude myself.
All right. What brings you to Cimarron of all locations? Just that constant travel to see new land?
I do have a certain sense of wanderlust to see the world and to experience it.
Perhaps the celebration of the setting sun is something that piqued your interest, or
Yeah, might be a seasonal thing that would make sense to make the trek.
okay.
It's probably a what, 2 weeks or 3 weeks from the woods to Cimarron.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about a week.
A week,
A little more
yeah.
than that, but a week-ish, give or take a week.
That's a reasonable amount of travel.
Yeah, so that would be kind of normal, especially since from the tribe location or the land where Lycans kind of typically are found, that's probably like a full month's travel from there to where you are now.
To the woods.
So, yeah, to the woods it would probably be about the same as well, assuming that nothing went wrong. Maybe you could get there in 2 weeks or so. But
Yeah, but if you
that's
mingle with
assuming
other
nothing
cultures
went
and
wrong.
people and
Yeah, you're gonna
and
need food.
find problems,
Yeah, exactly. So
run
yeah,
into under trouble.
you're good ways away from home. So it does make
Yeah.
sense to kind of stock up, come to the city, enjoy the festivities, and stock back up, get ready to leave and continue your solo journey, or not
Yeah.
so solo. We shall see.
Well, my assumed solo journey
Yeah.
until I meet some other fellow travelers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. We're getting close to 8 o'clock. So, is there any kind of quick questions that you guys have before we do our fancy attribution goodbyes stuff?
I got one more.
All right.
So I'm supposed to know because I'm a forged about like Big G-Man. What is it called? Like the dude.
Big G Man. The great one.
Yeah, I was right. It was a G.
Yeah, the great one.
The great one. So like, is the great one something I could have forgotten about, or will I definitely know who that is?
You will definitely know who that is, and the
I will not
great one
tell
is
you.
Terador itself.
Spoilers.
You have a direct bond with the heart itself of Terador. Because Terador, the world, is also a being. It is not. It's not a stationary planet thing. It is living and breathing. And so, as a forged, you serve a higher purpose, and that higher purpose in your mind is Terador itself.
I serve the Earth Mother.
Exactly.
Why do they still say that?
Something like that. But yeah, and the forged are from the deserts to the north. You'll see like a single solitary spire in the center of the desert on the continental map. That is your ancestral home.
I got really lost.
Yeah, you're. I mean, it's
I'm in the
weird that
longest
forged
place
all over the
possible.
place. But yeah, you are intercontinental.
Whoops.
All the way. Well, I guess not intercontinental, but whatever cross-continental would be.
Cross-continent.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, fine. You are cross-continental.
Breakfast.
Yeah. You went a long way for breakfast. But yeah, that is the Great One, and you will actually hear things from the Great One here and there.
Sweet. So people will actually think I'm just a crazy guy from the woods.
Everyone already does, so that's.
Yeah. Just
don't beat yourself too much up on that. Alright. For tokens, I kind of said this quickly last week, but since I'm streaming this and I'm here so I don't get fined, we can't just, pull fancy art from the internet and not attribute it to anyone and then say, hey, it's our art. Because that is bad and you should not do that. For token art, either draw it yourself or find some Creative Commons stuff and let me know who made the art so that we can include that in our attribution, because whoever makes the art should get credit for it.
Can we use the Roll20 stuff?
I believe so, since I will be attributing Roll20 itself, and if not, then someone on the internet can tell me, no, that's not okay, and we will redact such things. That is my plan moving forward.
Is that available in the interface, or do we have to find it on a separate part of Roll20's site?
I don't know.
I don't know if
there's an asset library somewhere.
Game, but because I mean, Kelly, if you just use like a Warforged token, I don't know. Do you have what's it called?
Tamium?
You don't have Everon, so you wouldn't get it.
No, I don't have Everon. But I'm sure I can find some, and if you guys need some help, so it's not a huge deal.
Amazing. Or I can learn how to friggin' draw.
Yeah. Or we can do some commissions. It's up to anyone. The only thing I worry about with commissions is you spend a good bit of money to buy artwork, and then your character dies in 2 episodes in.
Well, if we want to have,
you might have Bilbo Baggins that turns into Grobo Baggins, which turns into
Don't say it.
Yongo Baggins, and just keep going from there. So I won't be too upset if you guys have a Finn Greylight and Finn Greylight dies, and now you have Finn Whitelight and Finn Whitelight.
Well, technically, if we do get it commissioned, we can do whatever we want with the art because we own it, right?
Right.
So you could put like a mustache on it.
You could, especially if
pro gamer move.
That's how you game the system.
Add mustache. There you go.
Add mustache, change one letter, he's a new character.
Add monocle, boom, third character.
Boom.
End up with the Monopoly guy. You're in trouble
I'm
again.
Orbo's brother. Yeah.
Came into a large windfall in his early life, and now has a monocle.
But yeah, that's kind of it for the kind of the rules, some world stuff. So yeah, feel free to jump into the Discord and let us know, what you want to run, what you want to play, what do you want to join into, or investigate, and we'll schedule things from there. And with that, we'll go ahead and end this campfire chat. Thanks for hanging out. And here we go for the shoutouts. So we're using Roll20. I think we've said that like a million times already, but Hey, everyone, we're using Roll20. For music and ambience, we're using Tabletop Audio and Incompetech, which is pretty cool. All the music you're listening to right now, that's what it is. The battle maps that I'm making and any of the world map assets, those are from 2 Minute Tabletop, which is awesome. You should support them if you can. Faction and cult emblems are from Game Icons, and then we have a full list of other miscellaneous artwork that you might see along the way, and that is all in the description of the stream. You can keep in touch with us by joining our Discord, and there's a link in the description. We're going to keep streaming Mondays from 7 to 8. Be there, be square, and see you guys next week.
See you then.
Earthworm Jim for Smash Brothers.